Greetings and salutations, fans and family, friends and neighbors, lovers and losers of all kinds. This is just an observation, and I am your host, Admiral Oliver Franklin Doom. So sit back, enjoy, and let's have some fun, shall we?
The Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes transcribed to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as The Saint.
And thus began the old-time radio show, The Saint, starring Vincent Price. Now, this show was not a picked-up all-the-time version of the show. As a matter of fact, it started life on the Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS, in 1947. In 1949, it migrated its way over to the Mutual Broadcasting System, and somewhere in 1950-51, it wandered its way over to the National Broadcasting Company, or NBC. Now, Vincent Price was picked on this one. So much so that in Variety, I am to understand, it stated that he was a bore in this role. And, of course, well, I'll let you be the judge of that as we're going to be playing some clips of it.
Confide in someone if I could tell you what I...
Perhaps I already know more than you think I do. You're cold.
Yes.
Where's your raft?
It's over there someplace on one of those decks.
I'll find it. I don't see it here, Barbara. Are you sure you... Barbara! Behind you! Look out! Barbara! Barbara! Man overboard! Man overboard!
Maybe you'd like a swim too, Saint.
What? Oh. Found me calling in the lion's den. I tell you, you're being made a patsy raider. You're on the verge of being demoted back to second-class hoodlum.
I can take care of myself.
Well, I admit a minor sandbagging committed in your good name doesn't amount to much, Raider. But what if the same someone likes your name and decides to use it in other ways?
What do you mean?
I mean murder. You're a lead pipe cinch to pay for one of your own someday, Raider. But meanwhile, how would you feel getting hung for somebody else's shenanigans?
I'd be annoyed.
You sure would.
Look, I'm not rigged up with no murder, Saint. Lil meant 50 grand to us alive. That's what we figured the sucker was good for.
Well, it's a good enough reason for wanting Lil among the present instead of the late, Raider. Tell me, what was the angle? Blackmail?
Nah, nothing so crude, Saint. I sponsor the party, spot him, finger him, and oil him, and the Millers squeeze him through a deck of cards.
Huh?
The guy's a sucker for good-looking dames and card games, that's all.
That sounds very uncomplicated, easy picking.
The guy ain't had the coin long enough to be smart about it.
Who's the guy?
Yeah, he makes water heaters.
The fat man with the diamonds from Passaic.
Yeah, that's the sucker.
I should have tumbled.
Looks like you did. I thought you were out for a bust-up. 50 G's a lot of money, Saint. I figured if I could scare you, it'd be insurance.
How about Barbara Brooks?
Deal me out. I'm not in on whatever the caper is there.
She saw you the day we sailed, and she got scared.
Well, maybe it's because I ain't exactly pretty.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know something, Saint, I'll tell you. I was propositioned on a stunt against that dame a few weeks before we sailed. I turned it down. A big dough, too.
A murder deal?
Yeah, big dough to bump her off. Not for me, though. Nah, she's too prominent. Too much heat on those jobs.
Who made the offer, Raider?
He wasn't exactly interested in leaving his calling card, Saint. Just a John Smith, as far as I'm concerned.
But he had a description, didn't he? Everybody has a description.
Well, sure. He was a medium-sized guy with... Hey, the lights. Who turned them off?
Get down! Raider, are you...
Brown tie, blue shirt. Brown tie, blue shirt.
Brown tie, blue shirt. Not a very harmonious color scheme, is it? Raider.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raider. At least your last earthly utterance was in the direction of good. Thank you. Prefer it.
Say when?
A little more, Doctor. Oh, that's fine. Has such a beautiful color, hasn't it, Doctor?
Yeah, hasn't it, though? Aren't you going to drink it, Simon?
In a moment, Doctor, when I finish my story.
Oh, yes, of course, this story. Barbara's murder was next.
Yes, Barbara was next. But immediately before our last meeting on deck in the fog, Doctor, I found out what she was afraid of.
You did? But how?
It was easy. The steward had some keys. I had some money. The steward has enough now for that chicken ranch he's always dreamed of.
You broke into Barbara's stateroom.
Yes.
Well, what did you find, Simon?
Lingerie, perfume, stockings, and some letters, Doctor. Peculiar letters.
Huh? Fan mail?
Yes. Yes, and all from the same fan. A fan she was once engaged to marry, Doctor. A fan who loved her very much and hated her in equal proportions. Who was so torn between love and hate, he had to kill her.
Ah, it's schizophrenic.
You should know.
What do you mean?
Well, you know the classifications. You're the doctor.
Oh. Drink your sedative, Simon.
A colorblind schizophrenic. I don't believe I've ever met one before, Dr. Norman. So colorblind, he mistook the green and orange harlequin costume worn by Lil Miller for the blue and yellow one worn by Barbara.
That is very interesting, Simon.
Poor Lil. If she'd come to the ball as anything but a harlequin, she'd have lived to take in $50,000.
Your sedative, Simon.
You know, you were wrong about Lil's hair, Doctor. It wasn't red. It was brown.
You said it was red.
I wanted to see if you'd agreed.
Your sedative.
Yes, of course. Hand it to me, would you, Doctor? It's there alongside the drink.
Yeah.
No, don't try to tell them apart by their aromas, Doctor. It's obvious that they're different colors. Or can't you tell?
You find it, Saint. I'd like very much for you to drink it.
My Doctor, what a pretty purple gun you're wearing. Or is it pink?
Drink up, Templar. You hardly feel it. It's just a dash of prussic acid.
Dr. Norman, when you give a sedative, you go overboard.
Drink it, Templar.
Well, you're the doctor. A toast to you, Dr. Norman. To your green shirt, blue tie, and gray handkerchief, none of which match. Here's how.
Oh, my eyes! You threw it in my eyes.
It was a question of your eyes or my stomach, Doctor.
My eyes, I'm blind.
You'll get over it, Doctor, which is more than can be said of me if one of those wild shots of yours should hit me. I know I shouldn't practice medicine without a license, Doctor, any more than you should. But here's a sedative from me to you.
The clips for this episode of Just an Observation were taken from an episode of The Saint called, well, There's the Problem. There is no true catalog of Saint episodes. The same episodes were listed on all three networks. The same episodes were run on all three networks. And nobody had any true idea of what was which episode. This one, the MP3 is listed as Colorblind Murderer Aboard Ship, and it was dated the 22nd of October of 1947, which would have put it on the CBS run. The problem is, at the very end of the episode, it says it's on Mutual. And the other side of that is that Bill Conrad, a very well-known actor, is in this episode, and Bill Conrad worked almost exclusively for CBS, so it's entirely possible that this was a repeat with a Mutual ending on it to make it playable in 1949, 1950. It's very strange how the Saint worked. And if you can find them, they're fantastic episodes. They really are. And a lot of them are duplicates because a lot of them were repeated from network to network to network. But I recommend listening to them. And with that, I bid you a fair adieu from Just an Observation. And thank you for listening.